Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Ray from Roll Jump Media, and I wanted to talk about a topic today. Game of the Game Awards are just around the corner, and arguably the most, you know, exciting part of the Game Awards is talking about who's going to win Game of the Year. And I think we're at a point where we can narrow it down between two games. 2022, it was an all right year for games, but it's not gonna be. It shouldn't narrow down to more than these two games, which is going to be Elden Ring and God of War. So the question I want to talk about today is if Elden Ring or God of War is going to win Game of the Year. What I think, I'm gonna go ahead and lay out some reasons why each one could take it. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing on this video. And we do plan to make this a regular series where we're going to discuss the biggest topics or the biggest headlines in gaming, and then have a little discussion so that you guys can continue the discussion in the comments and you can share your thoughts about what we think. So if that sounds good to you, you can go ahead and give us a follow. Follow us on what we're doing on YouTube. We're also doing streams on different platforms. We're doing it on Twitch right now, but we're debating on YouTube and whatnot. So go ahead and give us a follow on those as well if you can. All right. So the topic at hand: Elden Ring or God of War Ragnarok. So as of this recording, it is November 10th, and God of War has been out for a day. So right now, Elden Ring is at a 95 on OpenCritic, and God of War is at a 94. So basically even on those terms. And what makes this kind of difficult is that Elden Ring is one would argue that Elden Ring is From Software's greatest game that they've made, and God of War is just like one of Sony's like banger third person action titles that or action adventure titles that they just like come out with every so often, and people just expect it to be amazing. And God of War, from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, is no exception. So reasons why Elden Ring or God of War would be taking the Game of the Year from Keeley's award show later today, or not later today, later in the year. So if y'all have been following the Game Awards, you know that Elden Ring from Software, Keeley was like, what was it like a couple years ago or a few years ago? People were really thinking that he was going to get that exclusivity on Elden Ring for like the reveal and all that. And I forget if he really did or not. He might have. I think he got a really big chunk of like revealing the gameplay and how that's going to work. So if you're just thinking about it from that standpoint, you would think that Elden Ring might take that one, but we're gonna go ahead and look at this objectively here. So we got Elden Ring, and Elden Ring, I think, has what I'm calling a Breath of the Wild edge. So people freaking love Breath of the Wild, and I'm not gonna take anything away from y'all. I don't like it as much, but I'm not gonna argue with the general consensus that Breath of the Wild is the business. So Elden Ring, I feel like, has that edge. It has that openness to it that people like to explore and have an adventure in. Kind of like freeform, go where you want to go, find out what you want to find out, fight what you want to fight. So Elden Ring has that in spades. So I think that is an advantage for Elden Ring. For God of War, as I said before, it's one of Sony's premier titles, and Sony's premier titles, they're always in a Game of the Year contention. And this one is at a 94. It's not part of any like controversy like Last of Us Part 2 was in, so it's just like really solid, really high chance of just wowing people, you know. Another point for Elden Ring, I would say, is that they found a way to make Elden Ring better than arguably better than Sekiro, better than Dark Souls 3, stuff that they put out that people revere to no end. somehow Elden Ring stands up to it and is in many aspects better. So them just taking what they know how to do, go back to that Dark Souls formula rather than doing Sekiro. I don't know if they have different teams over there, but Sekiro was plays much differently than Elden Ring. It's more geared towards the Dark Souls way of narrative and playing. So the fact that they took that, they made it better. They kept the player choice as far as how you want to approach combat situations. They kept that in there. They kept the narrative, uh, the more hands-off, more environmental storytelling narrative in there. And even though the world is so vast, they just found a way to space it all out to where the player is engaged no matter where you go. So just the fact that they were able to do that and just improve on what they already had is really spectacular. And another point, I guess, in a similar vein for God of War, God of War 2018, the first one that came out on the, not the first one, but the one from 2018, is lauded as one of the greatest video games of all time. And the fact that you can match that and then like arguably exceed it, sort of the same thing like Elden Ring, uh, is pretty nutty. Like these studios are doing the dang thing over at Sony. I don't know how they're able to accomplish that, but whoever's in charge, however they're getting it done, um, is pretty great. It's pretty amazing, almost unfathomable. So I've seen some cutscenes from God of War Ragnarok. Uh, the sheer epicness of some of them that I've seen is I can't even describe. So if you're looking for just pure epicness, pure like wow factor, God of War I think would have that category for sure. And then another point have here for Elden Ring, as opposed to what God of War would be offering, you can be more inventive. You have more choice as to how you're going to approach the game, and you'll get a satisfying, like, you get a very high sense of satisfaction no matter how you approach it. God of War is more of a linear type of experience. You go through the story, you have some side quests, from what I'm assuming, and then you just go on from there. You know, there's a more finite vision there, but that kind of ties in with that Breath of the Wild edge that I was talking about earlier. But depends what you want, you know. And I think the climate right now is leaning more towards what Elden Ring is offering, and especially since God of War 2018 was so good and they just like had such a high bar to reach in the first place. I think that's gonna put them a little bit under Elden Ring, just from like my perspective, just how the climate is right now. But we're gonna have to see in December. So just to sum up, both Elden Ring and God of War, I really think it's going to be up to the judge's personal preference. As I said, I think they're going to be leaning towards that more open experience, something that Breath of the Wild offered back in 2017. And what's interesting is that Sekiro won one year, and then The Last of Us Part 2 won another year. But I don't think that The Last of Us Part 2 year had something that was open that could contend with something that was that high production. So ultimately, what do I think? Personally, I would want Elden Ring to win because as somebody that wasn't very into those From Software games to begin with, I got into it with Sekiro, and I wasn't really feeling the Dark Souls ones. But Elden Ring looked so epic, and the traversal was improved. You seem to be more nimble, so I took a chance on that, and man, did I have a good time. I didn't play as much as I wanted to, but it was great. God of War 2018, I played a little bit of it, and I got a sense of what that game would be about. I know the story is a banger, and that you just unlock hella abilities and all that, but um, I personally would like Elden Ring to win Game of the Year, and I think the judges will also agree. It's probably going to be a close one, but Elden Ring, I think, should take it. So, with all that said, I'm gonna leave it to y'all. What do you guys think Game of the Year is going to be? Is it going to be Elden Ring, God of War, or do you think even another game would be able to take it? Something like a Bayonetta 3, maybe? I don't know. So feel free to leave that in the comments and we can have a discussion about it. And until the next one, I'll see y'all later.